Welcome to Live from Sparkwood in 21. This series chronicles one of the greatest television shows of all time, the 1990s cult classic Twin Peaks, created by David Lynch and Mark Frost. Joining me on this journey will be superfans Last Call with Troy Pacelli, Netters Network, along with soon-to-be superfan, a Troy Pacelli. Slide into a booth at the Double R Diner and order a damn fine cup of coffee and a heavenly slice of cherry pie as we watch and discuss episode 3, Rest in Pain. All right, I am going to bring up the panel.
Hello, hello.
All right, the gang is all here. I want to say hello to everyone in the chat. And Netter. Hi, Sweeties. He was here first.
2 hours ago.
2 hours ago.
I was eager.
She was looking forward to it all day.
Right on. The Lady Mist. Dee Myers Jr.
Hello.
Some last call.
Some rando.
Some random guy. Welcome to the show. Enjoy it. Hit the like. Big Al Presents, who I am going to be joining later on this week for a special Friday night episode of Films with Friends. And we are going to be watching Red Sonja from 1985. And that's going to be a lead into retro cinema over on Netter's channel, where we will be watching Conan the Barbarian. You scroll down. I don't want to miss anything. Evelyn Hampton. Qapla' Admiral.
Qapla'.
All right. Well, we certainly had quite a cliffhanger at the end of last week's episode. It was the episode 2 that contains the infamous dream sequence.
Yep.
Which tells you everything and yet nothing at the same time. Ending with a scene in which Agent Cooper proclaims that he knows who killed Laura Palmer. And we're going to find out in this episode just exactly what he does with that information.
Yeah, and I think this time around I'm not going to spend as long on the recap, because honestly, the key what do you call it? The key retrospective, or whatever you want to call it, we get from Cooper very early on. He goes through and explains or recaps his dream to the extent that he remembers it. So I think, probably don't have to give it too much preamble, other than to say that we mentioned last week, one of the things we that I missed on my original watch-throughs. In fact, I think only Canadian viewers got this. On the repeats of Twin Peaks, the character of Margaret Planterman, the log lady, did these little intros, which served as kind of a get you up to speed.
A recap. Previously on Twin Peaks, that sort of thing.
Yeah, but it really wasn't. If you think about it, it was far more Lynchian, And the one for this one, she talks about ideas and how ideas can come from dreams, which isn't much of a recap. I do know on network television here in the States, they actually did have recaps, like everything previously on Twin Peaks. Which I think was not what David Lynch actually would have wanted, but I don't think he really had much say in the matter. So, yeah. In fact, I don't know how many people realize this, but on the DVD of Mulholland Drive, there are no chapter breaks. You have to watch it from beginning to end. That's how David Lynch wanted it.
No, I don't like that. I like to go with my favorite scenes.
Yeah, I know you do. If it was a VHS tape, you'd wear it out in that spot.
I like the cowboy scene.
Yeah, that's what you were thinking of.
Fast forward to about an hour and 42.
Yeah, he knows exactly how far into it, right?
Okay, something like that. Yeah. Anywho, this is not about Mulholland Drive quite yet, even though.
They are set in the same universe. At least that's what David Lynch said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, everything's connected.
Yup.
Well, I'd be far pressed to be able to connect Eraserhead into into Twin Peaks or Mulholland Drive.
By the time we are done with season 3, I think you'll be able to see a way to connect them.
Really?
Yup.
They ever do a Twin Peaks crossover with another series, like maybe have Agent Cooper pop by on Northern Exposure for an episode or something like that? Ever happen? No,
but many shows have done their side of what might be considered to be a crossover.
Okay.
The most obvious one that comes to my mind is what's the character's name from Fringe? The father.
Walter Bishop.
Walter is talking about the glasses that he got from a psychiatrist friend up in Washington State, and they're 3D glasses.
Okay.
Implying that it was Jacoby.
Dr. Jacoby, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
But I could very much see Northern Exposure being a Twin Peaks universe, though. It's like it had all of the quirks, but not really any of the darkness. I mean, in a couple of places that show got grim, but
I would say Northern Exposure, when I think of things that weren't specifically Lynch that I think could totally fit into a Twin Peaks shared universe, I think Northern Exposure, I think Fringe, Lost, what's that that FBI show, The Truth Is Out There.
X-Files?
X-Files, absolutely.
Okay.
And X-Files also gives you Millennium, Lone Gunman, and Strange Lock, because
I don't care.
Yeah,
I don't care what people say. I don't care if they did a crossover with the X-Files. Millennium did not take place in the same universe as the X-Files. I get angry about this. People say it did. But anyway, it's okay.
I never actually watched Millennium, so I can't.
Loved Millennium. That was might be one of my favorite shows.
Yeah.
Yes.
Season 2 was
Lance Henriksen's great. He would have been great on this show. Yes.
Oh, hell yeah.
Evelyn also points out the Dual Spires episode of Psych, which we will actually have to add to this watch party. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So at some point we'll have to do that, probably after season 2.
Is Psych like how there was the show Medium? Was Psych like the anti-Medium?
It was Medium.
Like it was
Well, no, I don't think. Medium is a great example because Medium, she really did have psychic
Well, that's my
powers.
point. He did not.
Yes,
He pretended
exactly
he did.
right.
So it was almost like the anti-medium. That's what I'm saying. Yes.
I think in some ways, I felt like it was. In fact, they may have actually considered it to be in the same world as Monk. I think they
makes
did
sense.
have a crossover.
Yeah.
So,
What about the Ghost
Bur-
Whisperer?
a Ghost Whisperer, I thought was more like Medium than Psych.
Yeah.
Does Burn Notice take place in the same universe as Psych too? I'm thinking Burn Notice.
It totally could.
Yes.
I
Burn
could
Notice,
totally
Monk,
see
and
it.
Psych. Yeah.
Burn Notice is actually a really, really underrated series.
Yeah, I love that show.
Okay, we're getting way off topic.
Yes.
We are. But it is very odd in the way that a number of shows you could, if you think about it, you could connect them. And then there's that whole thing that it's fun to fall down the rabbit hole, but at the same time, it really kind of grates on me. Is that whole thing of Saint Elsewhere, the Saint Elsewhere ending where the entire time,
right.
Allegedly, because the thing is,
it's a great thought experiment, but I don't think it was ever intended to be taken too literally.
because the problem with that is that you had so many characters from Saint Elsewhere eventually cross over into other shows.
Yeah.
Saint Elsewhere had a character that was on Homicide. Characters from Homicide wound up in multiple shows, especially Richard Belzer.
Right, because of Law and Order and all that, right? Yeah.
Right. All those Law and Orders definitely cross over and so forth.
He was in Law and Order. He was in a show. I don't know if anybody remembers because it was on an early version of WB. It was called The Beat. That also had Jeffrey Donovan in it from Burn Notice, and Mark Ruffalo. But less said about that, the better. But it's the thing is, and then of course Munch also shows up in the X-Files.
Right.
So everything that the X-Files is connected to is now connected to Saint Elsewhere, and it becomes.
I think what you have to do is you have to be kind of have to be critical of what realistically fits. If you have actual crossovers, of actual characters, especially if they're recurring, then yes, they clearly are in the same universe. You can't tell me that Chicago PD and Chicago Fire aren't in the same universe. They absolutely are. They literally have multiple episodes that are two-parters on two series, right?
Yes.
But
I hate it when they do that.
And another one was and now in terms of comedy, you have like Golden Girls and not Full Nest.
Empty Nest.
Empty Nest. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Those two clearly are connected. But we talked about this on a previous stream. The idea that ER crosses over with Mad About You and Friends.
Mm-hmm.
No. I think that was meant to be tongue-in-cheek, and no.
Yeah, because, of course, ER is Chicago and those other shows were New York. So obviously they weren't Ross and Carter, but, you could play like they were in your own personal headcanon if you chose to go there.
Exactly.
But,
exactly. But we're missing saying hi to someone who just joined us. Cam's Crash Courses. Welcome. I saw this show. Kyle MacLachlan is a favorite since David Lynch's Dune. And don't get me started on Blue Velvet. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. There is going to definitely have to be some talk about some of the other David Lynch films. A little bit about Blue Velvet, perhaps, but much more about Mulholland Drive, Inland Empire. Definitely going to have to talk about those
which
a little
I
bit
still
more.
Need to see.
Well, if that has to become part of this series, we can always make that happen, Absolutely. But maybe we should just get to it because,
Yes.
like I said, there's not much recap I feel that needs to be done going into this particular episode.
Cooper pretty well handles it pretty early on. All right. If everyone is ready, we're going to go ahead and do the countdown as usual.
Yep.
And
let's remind everybody that Netter did drop the link. I think you posted it to the top. So if you want to right click on that link to watch along with us off platform because YouTube. So go ahead and do that, and we will get going as soon as I allow the host to do the countdown.
All right. Twin Peaks episode 3, Rest in Pain. In 3, 2, 1, go.
And we always open up with Flappy. So, the names of the titles, it's not like in Star Trek where they're clear and present in the opening screen. So the only way I even knew what the titles were was by extraneous sources.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, where did you learn the titles from? Deleted scenes?
Wikipedia.
Pardon
Because
me?
Wikipedia.
Oh, gotcha.
And because none of the episode titles are on any of the DVDs that I have. So.
Correct. I only knew it because of some magazines and whatnot that I read specifically related to Twin Peaks. Wrapped in plastic, for example. Man, I love this opening. This is a soundtrack. I mean, the music is just beautiful.
It's sad though.
It is,
Or
and
melancholic, maybe.
very, very intentional. Yeah. Sad and dreamy.
It's weird how the music play, right? Of course, I imagine would they just do the intro and then go to a commercial?
They might have.
They certainly had the space to do it, but I'm not sure that they did. Not always.
Let's see, on Batman the Animated Series, they would always have the title on a fancy hand-drawn artboard before the episode began. Each of them would have like a specific little piece of art that went with the title, and then they would show the show. But kind of like how they did with old cartoons back in the day, actually. But here, there's no title.
Yep.
That is a nice dress.
It is. So,
or whatever she's wearing. I don't know.
Here we go.
So, she's literally here waiting for him. So you should take notice of that, as in a little bit, she acts like she's got somewhere to be.
I saw him first. He's mine. Wait, what?
Yeah. She's playing coy, and she never says where she needs to be. Mm-hmm. He compliments her on her perfume, and she gets a little gushy. He knows what he's doing too. Handwriting check. Yeah, this is business, not pleasure. Now the coy doesn't work so well. Boom, the honesty. you know, worked there. That honest reaction. Did Laura work there? I don't know. The perfume counter. That's important. Again, a little piece of information Audrey didn't know. Okay, take a powder. I love that line. Thank you for talking to me. It's like
yeah.
she's saying, thank you for being kind to me, and not, treating me like a child.
Well, I also think talking to me instead of talking at me.
Yes. Exactly. I mean, he's not wrong.
I went to IHOP this weekend, so I did the split decision breakfast where I got, because I wanted bacon and sausage. Okay, there I said it.
Fair enough.
I couldn't decide between the two of them.
You didn't ask for the Rudy Tooty Fresh and Fruity Doug Flutie Betsy Boopsy breakfast?
Don't joke. They probably still have that there.
I love how she takes this so seriously. Break the code, solve the crime.
Should have done the blueberry pancakes, though, in retrospect. But
and here's the whole dream being broken down. Seems like he's going off on a tangent, but he's not.
Interesting.
Needs to be canceled for using the word midget.
You had one job.
I know, right?
Write it down, dude.
I know he should.
He probably went right back to bed after he said, "I know the killer is." Oh crap! I should have written that down. I forgot.
Yeah.
He wakes up. Actually, he probably forgot it when he woke up because I don't think he'd be that dumb.
And I do think it's kind of brilliant because by the time they do solve the murder, they have broken down the dream and solved and broke the code.
Ouch.
Oh, don't tick off Albert.
Albert's got it coming.
Yes, but I think Albert can flatten this guy.
It'd be funny if he knew like Taekwondo or something, right? Just or judo.
He's not wrong.
No. Now look what he does. He picks up an impact drill, and he's going at her head. What part of an autopsy involves drilling into her head?
Hey, who is ours to question, right?
Cuff him. Yep. Here we go.
Oh!
Now notice he telegraphed that punch. I like that. Just the silence. It's like, okay. Yeah, that was not a sucker punch.
No.
Saw it coming from a mile away.
I can imagine the actress in there going,
I'm sure he meant to do that, the punch.
I
Sorry.
can imagine the actress in there going, can you get this guy off me?
Mm-hmm. Yep,
Yeah,
it's
she
his
has
investigation.
movements.
He's in charge. Now, I love this. Again, Laura's theme's playing.
That's a very dead body.
Yes, it is. And he just gently replaces the hand. Okay, so Invitation to Love. I mentioned this before. Directly parallels what's going on in Twin Peaks, right? So we have a character being played by the same actress. She's doing a dual role, which you often get. It's a trope in soap operas.
It'd be funny if we learn Emerald and Jay on the soap are actually the same person, and it's a split personality thing. Never mind. I don't know.
Now listen. So father getting ready to, he's writing a suicide note, basically. And there you go. Cheryl Lee comes back in a second role. But that also causes you, it's really in your face. Was he thinking about ending it all too? You know? If we're seeing parallels in what's happening on the show.
They gave her a different look, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had to give her dark hair so she didn't look like Laura.
And
so
glasses, yeah. And you, as you get to know this character and you get to know more about Laura Palmer, you realize that they're very different characters too. So now she's got a husband coming out of prison.
I forget, who's this guy?
The attorney for her husband.
She's very smart.
Quickly fills you in, yeah.
Ducks.
Uh, Once again, folks, the Kwisatz Haderach. How many
Right.
times do we have to explain this? Sorry.
Exactly. Ah, I love that. But you just lied.
Who died made him Joe Friday. Oh, wait.
Yes.
What a smart ass.
Mm?
Yeah.
I kind of want to know where this was going.
I don't know. Well, he's not wrong there.
And he doesn't care.
Does he?
Now, see, if you listen to what the Major's saying, it's all true. It sounds a little hokey, but if he were to take it at face value, he might actually be able to find a little comfort in it.
Yikes.
I mean, that's a pretty weird reaction, too.
He's a weird kid.
Yeah. He's full of anger, is what it really is.
I'm just realizing the actor that played the Major also played Agent Scully's father on the X-Files.
He did.
Yes. He was also a military man. Yeah.
He also played a major in Stargate.
They must like him as military guys. That must be,
Yeah.
must be a
Well, he
type.
looks military, you know?
Yes. Yes.
I wonder if he brought his own uniform everywhere he went.
Oh, he's wonderful.
Her arms bend back. I like that. They kind of put it in your face that he's putting the connections together with the dream.
Hmm.
Oh,
I'd have to deck him again.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Got a funeral to go to. Yeah.
Here's the thing that gets me. He's not in his dress uniform. He should be wearing a dress uniform to go to a funeral.
He's on duty.
Doesn't matter. You still wear your dress uniform when you go to a funeral.
Incredibly poignant what he just said.
In other words, stop being a jerk.
He's the kind of FBI agent where the locals won't like and won't cooperate, right? Remember that was the thing.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
That would happen on the X-Files sometimes. Local authorities didn't want to cooperate with them.
Right.
That's the thing that would happen sometimes.
And that's what makes Cooper such a great go-between.
Because he can talk to the locals.
Yeah.
And respect them. With respect, yes.
Exactly.
Mm.
It requires that kind of a Boy Scout, you know?
Okay, well.
This People Under the Stairs prequel is weird.
I know, right?
Was she also in People Under the Stairs?
Yeah.
Okay.
They played the...
I thought she was. I wasn't
brother
sure.
And sister, yeah.
What are those figurines she's collecting?
I don't know.
Because we just
Souvenirs,
asked her if
maybe?
that was a new one.
And now she does have her mood swings, but in moments like this, you really get the impression she really does love him.
Yeah. And hello to Emotionally Unstable Amphibian. I have the Kung Flu, and my system is a combination of codeine, Klonopin, and brandy.
Yikes!
Actually, under those circumstances, this probably would actually be a decent show to be watching. But I totally get it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Take it easy, man. Get some rest.
Yikes!
Yeah. So as I recall, he was a football player, and Norma was
cheerleader.
Cheerleader.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're basically like the 20 years on versions of the kids, you know.
Yeah, exactly. And Nadine she was the unpopular girl, right? So she really married way out of her league.
Yikes.
Yeah. That Great Northern sign, the marble pieces on either side are part of the actual uh, uh, lodge sign, and so that piece was an overlay that they had to put over it.
Mm.
Really kind of neat, actually.
When she first walked in with her hair like that, I thought she was Josie.
Oh yeah,
Interesting.
secret doors. And
Okay. When we get our next house,
you
I
want
secret
those, yeah.
things.
You'll never know when I'm peeking on you.
Well, you can peek at me as much as you like. Although after 31 years, I don't think you're going to see anything new.
He's taking the hat off.
That is pretty impressive. You know, getting him to. It's like getting Linus to put down the
blanket.
The blanket.
Blanket,
You know?
yes.
And
Don't
hello
worry,
got
Shady
gorgeous hair.
RPH1. Thanks for being here.
Mm.
And I've seen this guy play
Yeah.
jerky roles usually.
I've seen him in. He's one of those character actors you see in a
like
whole bunch of
trucker,
things.
just somebody that's evil. Now he's a priest.
Mhm.
Cute hat.
I was just thinking that too.
And a haircut, you hippie.
Yeah.
I think he's trying to look like Dale Cooper's hair. Oh, it looks nice.
Uh,
Brush back, but he's got too much of it. It needs to be shorter. Not him.
yeah, I know.
The ex-boyfriend.
You mean Bobby? Yeah.
I don't like Bobby. Oh, not the character.
And I get the impression that Dale is just watching everybody,
He has
looking
to.
for. Yeah, he's
Well, the
looking
killer
for-
could be there. The killer could be at
exactly. Yeah, that's dangerous. Shrek PMC, welcome, welcome. Oh,
Well, he's not wrong.
no, exactly.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Stop making a spectacle of yourself. You
It's a little different when the autistic kid, does it.
Well, he wasn't
This-
inappropriate, the autistic kid, but
No, he was not.
Yes.
Again, this is that anger just spilling over.
It's not about you.
Wait a minute, though. Listen to what he says. He's not wrong either.
Oh, here it comes. Mm.
Yeah, it's probably not a great idea to be threatening someone with so many witnesses.
Oh, jeez. Ah. Ah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I actually never caught that line before. That,
Yeah.
wow.
But she said, "Don't ruin this too."
Yeah. When you don't know these characters and their background, you could easily miss a line like that.
Okay, first of all, they started lowering the casket and he jumped on it.
Uh,
Right there, the worker should have just stopped.
Mm. Double R Diner. Can you imagine if a Red Robin opened across the street? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
yeah.
It's not funny.
Yeah, she's being a bit of a dick here.
Yeah,
to be
she
honest.
kind of.
Yeah.
There is a certain bizarreness to it, and I kind of understand.
Yeah.
Oh, welcome, Nate.
Oh, hello, Nate.
The pastor was the chief of security on the first season of Sequest. There you go.
Yep. And he's in Gettysburg and
Yep.
Under Siege 2. Yeah, he had many credits. Royce Applegate.
Huckleberry Pie.
Oops, busted. Which one have you told?
From Canada.
Yes.
Two scoops.
Dang, that one pie.
I know. See, when I first saw this, and it's only reinforced as you go along, I got a very Lovecraftian kind of feel here.
Well, it means it's been there. They've dealt with this in years past too.
Oh, we'll be talking about that because Hawk will introduce us to some of the Native American lore.
Right.
And there's a lot of interesting tidbits that you get from the history of Twin Peaks and the Axis Guide. Secret Society, again, that Lovecraft element there.
Mm.
I saw this place from the outside. It is tiny. That width that you can see behind them, that's as wide as the building is.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much a shack.
Yeah, but I'd probably want to read all the books, though.
Yeah, right? Remember that kid on the right? He's the one that during the fight said, "Come on, I'll take you to James, to Donna."
Hmm.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
Do you recognize him?
No.
He doesn't actually look familiar to me.
Yeah, you got to picture him with really big ears and fake teeth and a big nose.
Pennywise?
No.
What are you thinking about?
No, Pennywise was Tim
Did you
Curry.
ever watch
Tim Curry.
Deep Space Nine?
That's
Oh.
Quark? Or
Nope.
Rom?
It's Nog,
Nog. Okay.
the brother.
It
Oh,
is?
that's interesting. Completely
Ron was
different.
the son.
I can see it now, but different personality. But
Oh,
I can
wait a
see
minute.
it.
Which one's the brother and which one's the son?
Not the son.
Ram is the son. Nog
He's
is
the brother.
is the brother, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of
This
course,
Deep Space-
Jacques just got warned away there. Go ahead, Boomer.
Oh, here we go. Jacques. Wait. Mm. Hi, no answer. He's a charmer, isn't he?
But on the other hand, he didn't incriminate her if he got caught.
Is that a gun?
Oh, yeah, and we're going to be seeing a lot more of it.
Yep. I mean, talk about Chekhov's gun. You kind of got to keep track of that little MacGuffin there.
That's what I love about this show, especially in the first season, is nothing is by accident.
Not at all. And almost everything has a payoff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like I said, even that line, "Don't ruin this too." It's been 30 years and I'm just now realizing what that means.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy. Mm. She does now. Okay, thanks, Nate. I knew someone would correct me. Ram is the brother, Nog is the nephew. So
Right.
he played Ram. Thank you.
Look at this.
Yep. Yeah, she never should have had them stored together anyway.
2 sets of books. That's pretty obvious, right?
Yep.
It's by the coffee maker. Hell no, he's seen Carrie.
Yeah. See, here's another thing. Some of these people that have stuff to hide, maybe they need to start, backing off, the people that could really make their lives miserable for them.
I'm just noticing there are RoboCop actors in this series too, with the other agent that Cooper was dealing with, and also later
Yep.
on. Yes, it's
Yep.
interesting.
Yeah.
I could have seen Peter Weller showing up at some point.
Right. Little bits of honesty sometimes. Yep. Ray Wise and Richard Bamer both were in the original West Side Story. You're right, Evelyn. See, she acts like she's real, vulnerable and whatnot, but she knows what's going on. She's not naive.
Femme fatale, possibly.
Not sure how fatale, but
Okay. She
she
strikes me
she
as she could be
she's
dangerous.
she's not completely a victim either.
No.
She's not that naive. She knows what's going on. Enough to be concerned. Her fears aren't unfounded. And what is she doing? She's getting close to somebody who can help her. I mean, she doesn't have a very pure past, right? She inherited the sawmill when her husband died, supposedly in an accident. So she married a rich guy and inherited everything. That's right. Russ Tamblyn was in West Side Story too. I'd forgotten that.
Yeah.
This is heartbreaking.
Hmm.
Remembering, him dancing with the picture in the last episode. Whew.
Red light.
Yep.
It ends with that.
Sparkwood 21.
Yeah.
There you go. Oh, that's just painful. It really is. Okay. So now we got a little bit more. We know, again, we've kind of known this since the first episode. Laura was doing coke. Now we know that the Renaults are involved in the smuggling of drugs across the border from Canada. Um, the sheriff's department has been working on, the drug situation for some time now. Working with civilians in their the Bookhouse Boys, their secret society. Some of the men in town just doing what they have to do to protect their loved ones in the community. Kind of very old fashioned concept, right?
Sounds like vigilantism to me.
Not when the sheriff is in charge. I mean, think of them as deputies, just
All right.
not carrying a badge. And now what? They're bringing in a federal agent too to help them. So, and we still don't know exactly what the connection is, but we're getting a little bit more about this whole land deal and Benjamin Horn and the sawmill. So, but is he suffering from grief or guilt? That is an excellent point, Nate. We don't know at this point. We don't know. Yeah, both could manifest this way. Both. Well, actually, there's nothing to say it's not both, right? So we will see. We will
see. But any new characters introduced in this episode? We have the Renaults, right? Yeah.
Well, we know we have Bernard introduced because he got some drugs from his brother Jacques, who works at the Roadhouse. So, the Roadhouse. I was right.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think we've met him directly. He's just been mentioned. We will see him eventually. Roadhouse is going to be seen a whole lot more. And not to give away too many spoilers, but there is going to be a connection to One-Eyed Jacks too. So there we go. But We also know that the connection between Laura and Ronette Pulaski, which we didn't know before. Well, they both were working at Horn's department store at the perfume counter. So,
Perfume. We heard a comment about perfume at the beginning of the episode.
good point. Good point. Which also makes you wonder if that's part of a connection that that Cooper was making when he, asked, if Laura, what was it? If Laura worked at the One-Eyed Jacks and finds out that that Audrey didn't know, and she definitely sounded genuine. She really sounded like she didn't know and hadn't really thought about it. And another little minor spoiler, just to give you some insight going forward, is that there is a connection between working the perfume counter at Horn's department store and working at One-Eyed Jacks. So there you go. And Evelyn, yeah, absolutely. The whole invitation to love, the parallels are clearly there between the story you see on TV in Invitation to Love and the so-called real world of Twin Peaks, right? But from our perspective, Twin Peaks is kind of a TV soap opera, right? It's a nighttime or primetime soap, so to speak, right? It was definitely drawing on that melodramatic soap opera theme of that era. And it was not by accident. It was very self-aware and self-referential in that regard. So that is another dimension that should not be overlooked. JPRPH1 says, I love this show. Yeah, obviously I do too. I have collected every bit of material and memorabilia that I could, including, fan magazines like Wrapped in Plastic and Blue Rose. And it's a lot of great stuff. I got a lot of books about Twin Peaks. Not all of them directly, tied in. Some of them fan productions and scholarly analyses and stuff like that. But so Boomer, how you feeling?
How am I feeling?
Yeah,
About
anything
the
that
show
you
so far? Well, I did
Yeah.
notice there's no real big cliffhanger in this episode, is there? I mean, maybe there's the introduction of the Bookhouse Boys, but basically they take Leland home, and that's the big thing. And I guess that's the way it should have ended, right? This is a funeral episode, right? So,
Exactly. It's not meant to be a big, dun 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 type ending. It's meant to be a very emotional kind of ending. What was the name of the title? It was
Rest in
Rest
pain.
in pain.
Rest in Pain, right? And there's a lot of ways that ties in to this story, but I can't help but think when he's talking with Hawk about the Native American beliefs about the afterlife and so forth, and they toast Laura Palmer, and he says Godspeed. I don't think that she's really going to be resting in peace. At the very least, she probably can't rest in peace till her murder is solved. But I think you're going to find there's even more to it than that. So one could argue she's resting in pain, right? Then there's the pain that everyone she's left behind is in, right?
Yes.
all manifesting in different ways. Her parents clearly just dissociatively distraught, right?
The ex-boyfriend.
Bobby
Yeah,
is
Bobby.
clearly full of rage. But that's why I told you, give him a little grace and listen to what he says. Because in his anger, he actually drops a whole bunch of truth bombs.
He does.
Right? And I do believe that Sheriff Truman, when in the first episode, they find her diary, and Cooper says, I think once you test this, you'll find it tests positive for cocaine. Cocaine, you didn't know Laura Palmer. I think he's actually surprised to find out what he's finding out about Laura Palmer. Not only was there cocaine in that bag that they found in her diary, but she had a long-term habit based on toxicology.
Right.
They could have gotten a little bit more into detail, but I would guess that they did more than a blood test. They probably did a hair follicle, and that's how they could tell how far back the cocaine use goes. But I think you're starting to see that Leo Johnson. We know that Leo Johnson and Bobby and Mike are somehow involved in this drug trafficking that's going on. We now know from the sheriff that the drugs are coming down from Canada. Well, Leo's a trucker. He gets around. That's a great way to move drugs around.
Yeah.
So these are
just stuff them in your cargo, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can get really fancy if you think someone might be watching you. You go to the wheel wells under the hubcaps. You could have secret compartments underneath the cargo area. There's all kinds of things that smugglers do. But yeah. So the possibilities of so bunch of theories, right? If she was involved in drugs, she was doing drugs. Apparently, there's money missing that she had in a safe deposit box that Leo is expecting to get from Bobby.
Mm-hmm.
You owe money to drug people. That's a great reason to get killed, right?
Yes.
If you're an addict and your drug contacts think you might be a liability, that's another reason to get whacked, right?
I hear the term "get whacked." I think Sopranos.
Exactly. Well, you know the perspective I'm coming at this too.
I'm assuming this is an organized crime in Canada, right? This is obviously a French-Canadian thing going on here, right?
At least partially. Yeah, you'll find more about that with the Renault brothers. That's true. There's another There's actually two other brothers that they haven't introduced yet. Let's see. And then, of course, you have the typical soap opera things. You have, jealous boyfriends. You have, potentially jealous girlfriends of the boyfriends. These are just some of the possible theories. You got Dr. Jacoby, who was seeing her, who was already admitted he's not such a great guy. He doesn't care about most people, but he clearly cared about Laura. And if you're not getting a little creeped out by the feelings he has for Laura, you probably should be. And if you're not, you soon will be. When I die, even if it's not murder, I want to haunt for a few years just for shits and giggles. Yeah, I hear you.
That was like in The Conjuring too, when they were talking to the ghost. Remember? I don't know if you saw that, and and I think what's his name? Ed Warren says, "What's wrong with going to heaven?" Then he says, "I am not a heaven man." That's what the ghost replied.
Well, yeah, and that's been a very interesting element of a lot of these supernatural stories. You know, these ghosts with unfinished business. Their unfinished business is they don't want to go to hell.
Yeah,
You know?
maybe. It was
You
more
know?
complicated in the movie, as you find out, though. But
Right.
yeah, but it
But
was an
this whole
interesting
idea of holding
response.
on because you don't want to, and that's in a very simple way. It's kind of why I like the movie Ghost, because you do get this impression that, you know, there's the light that the good ones go to, and then there's the shadows that come for the other ones, right? And,
Yeah, exactly.
know,
Oh yeah, I remember Ghost. Yeah,
great one. That's a great one.
Patrick Swayze and Demi Moore, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah. Well, whatever. Anyway, I don't want to cut any because my instinct is to go into, well, what do we got coming up this week? But I don't want to cut the conversation short. Is there anything you guys feel that I've missed that we haven't covered here? We really didn't get into. Well, the story hasn't gotten much into Madeline yet,
Right.
but the twin is introduced. So a little behind the scenes on this, right? David Lynch liked Cheryl Lee so much, he felt like it was a complete waste for her to literally just play a dead body, right? And then, you know, a few flashback scenes, you know, mostly non-speaking role.
That was smart, I think, doing the cousin, right?
Absolutely, and it really fit into that whole soap opera vibe and so forth. When Twin Peaks first aired, I was working 2 jobs. I saw the pilot and missed so many episodes I couldn't get into it, but thank you guys, I can now. Nate, you keyed into exactly why I wanted to do this. I've said this about Twin Peaks on a bunch of other things. Twin Peaks, to say it was ahead of its time, I think undersells it. It was ahead of its time quite literally, because this kind of episodic television that really needed you to watch every single episode it couldn't work that when it came out, right? This was before there was a mass release of home media. I mean, VHS was just kind of starting at this point, right? And still most of it was cost prohibitive for most people. TV series were not something that you usually could go to Blockbuster and rent. And I missed Twin Peaks the first season that it aired.
Oh yeah.
I was unaware of it until, you know, I was hearing all the hype about it. So I got very, very lucky in this very rare instance that was it ABC that was playing Twin Peaks?
It might have been, yeah. I
That's
think it was
correct.
ABC.
ABC decided to in the off season they would do reruns, and they were very meticulous about replaying it from the beginning, and they specifically billed it that way, saying, this is your chance to get caught up before season 2. Watch it from the beginning. And I think that was just very much ABC knowing, yeah, people are going to be completely lost if we don't play it from the beginning and play every single episode. So I was meticulous about it. If I couldn't be home for it, I set the VCR to record it. And I did. I recorded. I had them on VHS for a long time before it was ever released commercially. And that's how I was able to get caught up on it. Now, 30 years out, there have been multiple home media releases of it. It's been streaming. It streamed on Sci-Fi for a while, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was like, yeah, kind of ubiquitous. So, and I'm sure there's got to be a streaming service out there right now where you could watch it. So, not to mention, you know, the 7 Seas and whatnot. But I mean, So now is a great time to get caught up. And here's another way. Not only can you get caught up and watch the individual episodes, but you can have a conversation with some people that have, visited the filming locations, met some of the stars, had meals with some of the stars, gotten a lot of great behind the scenes type stuff, and obsessed about it for over 30 years, so yeah, I'm glad that that Deleted Scenes decided to make this happen. This is a great opportunity for Netter and I to kind of relive a lot of this.
Right, because you get to attack it from, like I said, almost a super fan type of angle. Of the behind the scenes tidbits. You've been to these places physically. You've met these people. I attack it from, the high school kid who got so obsessed with this show that he started dressing like Cooper.
That ain't a bad thing, to be honest with you. That is,
because I grew up, thanks to my dad, watching mysteries. I would watch mystery shows with him. So I watched Sherlock Holmes and Rumpole and Dalgliesh, and all of those shows, because those were on PBS every weekend.
Dalgliesh, they redid that recently.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
See, that's funny because as I watch Twin Peaks and, they put out the audio tapes and I listened to those and read the authorized biography and got the history on Dale Cooper and why he did the recordings and so forth. My mother had gotten me a little audio recording, little tape recorder. And I thought about, keeping a journal or keeping tapes like that. But there was another element there, and that's growing up Italian with all the mob movies, never in writing, always in cash, right? So it's like, no, I'm not keeping a journal, never going to have something out there that someone could find someday.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I did.
Did you really?
I basically cosplayed Cooper for 2 years.
I can totally see that. Yeah.
Back before I even knew cosplay was even a real thing. But
right.
I mean, for crying out loud, you've got that David Lynch hair, which is basically
I do now,
Dale
basically.
Cooper.
Yeah.
So absolutely.
Yeah.
Did you read the authorized biography and listen to the audio tapes of Dale Cooper?
I did.
Okay. So just wanted to make sure you knew the whole story there. That we'll get into that a little bit later, but Deleted Scenes, thank you for doing this show. It's been a great time, excellent show with a great group of folks and friends and family. That is super, super sweet of you,
Thank you,
Dee Dee Meyer. I really, really appreciate that. I like when people say nice things about me. It makes me feel good.
Because on my channel, doing deep dives like this is not something that I've really done until this point.
Yeah.
And I felt, and I kind of held back from that. And, I can talk about individual movies here or there, and I've done it on other shows, and I'm going to do it this week. But this was something that I really did. Everybody on this panel really felt passionate about this show in some form or another.
Yeah. And it's kind of cool because it is only 2 seasons, although the second season is a much longer season. Mm-hmm. The first season is very, very short.
Because that was the thing. This was a mid-season replacement show.
Yes, it was.
Nobody was really expecting this to go anywhere. When it was first advertised, they really didn't go into the plot very much. You just had what were basically random images, and you got little bits and pieces here and there, but nothing that really connected to what exactly is the story.
Yeah.
Until you got to that first night and you're just thrown into it right away. Really,
Right.
you are kind of tossed off that waterfall, without a life preserver.
You kind of come in like Agent Cooper. You are
Yeah.
getting to know these characters as he does. The difference, though, is he's got a bit of history that you start finding out as you go too. That's going to play into this, and again, this is a little bit of a spoiler, but it's not huge. It doesn't give a lot away. And it was something that kind of got very glossed over. Where does the federal agent get jurisdiction to come down to Twin Peaks? Well, the initial thing was that Ronette Pulaski came down off the mountain, crossing the state line, right? Fine, but until this episode, you didn't have the firm connection between the two. But what he also mentioned, I believe he mentioned it in one of his tapes to Diane. I think he already has done this, where he mentions that this case resembles a case from the previous year.
This is the thing that you have to, folks have to remember, is that there was a previous victim before Laura, and that's Teresa Banks, and she's a character that you actually get to see in the Fire Walk with Me feature film. And you get her backstory and how she figures in and how she wound up being a victim of this killer, and also how Cooper got involved with her case initially, because as we also find out, and again, a little bit of a spoiler, he was not the initial agent on that case.
Yep.
Because that agent, he finds a clue, and he doesn't get any farther than that, and
yeah.
Again, I don't want to go too deep. When we revisit Fire Walk with Me, we'll go further into that. But
I think one thing you can say about it, you alluded to it, and I think that it makes Cooper's reaction when he first investigates, when he first examines Laura's body. What's the first thing he does? He goes and he looks under her ring finger, and he pulls out, using a pair of tweezers, a tiny typed letter R. Well, the reason he knows to look for that is because it matches, and I think he even mentions this in his reporting. It matches what was found on Teresa Banks' body. Different letter, but that's why he knew where to look.
And those letters are spelling out something.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a bit.
And we'll get to that. Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to mention, and I know I mentioned this in a previous stream, the dream as Coop recounted it, those scenes that we saw are cobbled together from an ending that was filmed for the European cut of Twin Peaks. When the pilot was released overseas, they were contractually obligated to make it a standalone movie, a film. So it's got this very simple ending where this guy Bob is the killer. In fact, we've seen him in a vision here in the series. I almost said Grace. Her name is Grace. Laura's mother, right? Grace. I often confuse the actors and the characters. She remembers seeing somebody at the foot of Laura's bed. So that was the Bob that Cooper saw, in his dream. He was the flesh and blood murderer in the European cut. So that's
Right.
where all that comes together.
And the one-armed man, who's
Mike
Gerard, which is Mike Gerard, which is a reference to The Fugitive, because
Right.
he had a one-armed man in the character named Gerard.
Yeah.
And
you
and
will
you-
notice this
Yeah.
over and over again, characters having the same name as either characters from other, productions or real life people. Dale Cooper, Harry S. Truman. This motif will come up over and over again.
and Laura and Madeline is
Yes.
a reference to the movie Laura.
Yep.
So yeah, which is this great film noir mystery and you see there are names from that film that repeat here: Laura, Madeline, Waldo, Lidecker. These names that kind of keep popping up. And so you watch that, and I consider that movie almost a prequel in itself. But
you probably will all the more so after you see season 3 and you hear my theory about what's going on with it. But again, I think you may come to some of the same conclusions I did after the end of season 3.
Mm-hmm.
But Fire Walk with Me is great. I sometimes mix it right into the TV show. Yeah, it's kind of like the Star Wars prequels. Right after you've watched episodes 4, 5, and 6, and then you see episodes 1, 2, and 3. Then you can watch them in chronological order if you want. And I have done that too. I've done rewatches where I start with Fire Walk with Me and watch all the way through. So
and if you do what we did with the when we had the original Fire Walk with Me stream, which kind of began this whole journey in the first place.
Yeah.
Well, that Mulholland Drive kind of did too, but
yeah,
the version that we watched was the fan edit that had the quote unquote missing pieces, the deleted scenes from the series.
Yes.
Put back into it, and that was obviously created by someone who cared very much for the timeline.
Yeah.
You can almost meld the movie into the series because you have these deleted scenes, so to speak. Sorry, deleted scenes. Talking about deleted scenes going into, that were from the series to begin with. So yeah, it's. I almost kind of prefer that fan edit now of the film over the.
I do too. I absolutely do too. Cam's Crash Course. Thanks again, everyone. Been listening away from keyboard. Laura is one of the seminal films of noir. Lynch is definitely referencing this classic. No, yeah,
sure. He's admitted to it.
Oh, yeah.
Laura, really?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I
Absolutely.
wanted to murder Laura in the movie Laura.
Well,
I did not like her at all.
You might find some reasons to not like this Laura too.
Probably would murder this Laura too. Who am I kidding? I'm sorry. I'll be good.
But at the same time, the more you find out, the more you also have some compassion for her and why she is the way she is. There is a great deal of dimension to all of these characters. You get the impression that even the worst characters probably have some good in them. There's probably a reason they turned out the way they did. Not everyone gets that kind of treatment. We don't get into the backstory for all the characters. Some of them remain a little bit two-dimensional. But some of them you get a little insight to.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I like about the show. The TV shows I like the most, the movies I like the most, are the ones that treat every character like the movie's going to be about them. That's how you get a properly rounded character, and sure, as you said, there are some characters here that are two-dimensional or aren't entirely expounded upon, and maybe season 3 will clear some things up for me. But
You know, Evelyn makes a great point I hadn't considered. It actually reminded me. There are two Harry S. Trumans in real life, the president and the stubborn hermit who refused to leave Mount St. Helens before it erupted. The
Yeah.
hermit became a pop culture icon. And I got to be honest, I would not be surprised if Lynch did not intend for there to be that thought as well. You know, the stubborn hermit. File that one away, Stephen, for when we get to season 3.
Sounds like a plan.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So,
and of course, just kind of staying on the topic of St. Helens for a moment, there is a really good made-for-TV movie that was based on it that depicted Harry Truman. He was played by Art Carney. There's an excellent. Ultimately very sad because the guy does die up there, but
of course, yeah.
But that was one that popped to mind because I think you can actually find it on YouTube for free. I think it's public.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, a lot of those made-for-TV movies did. Art Carney, who will be singing the Star Wars Holiday Special this Friday.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Just drawing the connections there for you.
The Stars Holiday.
Have you watched through the holiday special with us before?
Yeah, I have. Okay.
Yeah, he was a victim another year. Yes.
Oh, you were. Yeah, you were on or not on camera, but you were on stream with us.
Yes,
I was. Yes.
Yeah. It's you know, I think it's like this. I think it's a lot more fun with friends. You know,
it is, and of course, finding out through you that there are these sort of multiple
cuts of it,
as well. So, I don't denigrate it as much as I used to. I go a little over the top when I talk about it, but there are parts of it that are.
I'll talk more about it on Friday. I'll talk more about it on Friday, but I've always been one of those types that, I've always been big on physical media because I've been a preservationist. You know, I want things to not be forgotten. Every time I hear about, a film or something that we have just, reports of and photographs and whatnot, and the movie's been lost, it's just crushing to me. And, so whenever possible, I try to be an archive myself of this kind of stuff. And the holiday special was one of those things. So when I saw it available as a bootleg VHS at a convention, I bought a copy. And then when the internet came out and various versions of it were out there, I started making DVDs of them. And then when that Huio surfaced, I made sure I got the best quality copy of it that I could. 10 Steps to Disaster docuseries includes an episode on St. Helen with footage of the real Harry S. Truman. Show is on streaming channels. There you go. Thank you, Evelyn. Great. And of course, Dale Cooper, the dude that mysteriously disappeared, jumping into the woods from a plane with a bunch of money that was stolen.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and what a disappointment he turned out to be when they finally tracked him down.
Because
there was so much. Okay, what's the word I'm looking for? There was so much innuendo is not the word that I'm looking for, but
mythology that had kind of developed around
mythology that developed around him, and even I always said, man, okay, I get that what he did was illegal, but damn, the whole thing of skydiving out of a moving plane, that's pretty ballsy, and then you think, oh, he must have had some sort of reason above and beyond to go through it, and then they catch the guy, and you're like, nah, he's just a thief. He's just a criminal.
It is kind of because if you're into true crime and stuff like that, you'll hear a lot of cops, a lot of investigators say that so many crimes are solved because criminals are stupid. They do something dumb. They don't think through what they're doing. They tell somebody or they brag about it, and it ends up getting out because you tell one person, you tell everybody, right? So every time someone actually gets away with it, you know, you'll find an investigator say, you know what? This could be the one who was smart enough to keep his yap shut, to have planned it out to the last detail, and we'll never find him. And you know, for a long time, a lot of people thought DB Cooper was that kind of a person. I mean, jumping out of an airplane with the money you stole. You know, I mean, he must have had this brilliant plan, right? Only come to find out he was making this crap up as he went along and just got lucky.
You know, that's why I like that episode of Leverage better.
Yeah.
When they caught him that was that great episode that had Fred Ward in it as the character that turns out to be DB Cooper. Yeah, that was
right.
That's kind of how I want to think he really was, but no, real world, you know.
Yep. But yeah, there you go. So there's your weekly dose of Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
I keep thinking I didn't see Dale Cooper eating anything else besides that breakfast, but that was probably enough to last.
That was a heck of a breakfast. Yeah, that was and then that pie later in the day,
huckleberry pie.
You know, I mean, if you're just going pure calorie intake, he probably blew out his calories for the day as it was. So
yes,
you know.
Well, that even gets referenced later. You know, so you have the metabolism of a bumblebee.
Yeah, exactly. And although I'm going to assume there's things that these characters do in between that we're not seeing every minute of their day. I figure he probably does work out, right? We do see him doing the meditation, the hanging upside down, the isometrics, and so forth. He probably does some other exercise that we're not seeing because he clearly is someone who takes care of himself. You know, just like in all other TV, you normally don't see people going to the bathroom, but you assume they do at some point, you know? So
it also helps being technically 10 years younger than the character you're playing. So that helps too.
Yeah, good point. That does kind of help. Yeah, that's the other thing too. His character is supposed to be older. As an actor, he's much closer in age to the actresses that played these high school girls, who are also older than actual high school, you know, kids would be. So that puts them right into the dating wheelhouse. So there's some behind the scenes type soap opera stuff that goes on here too.
I know a little bit about a little bit. I don't know whole stories, but to let everyone know, yes, there were actors in the show who were dating while they were filming this. So
interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and you might be a bit surprised by who in some cases, but
all right.
Yeah, I'm not sure they would be. I think if you tell them, people would go, "Oh yeah, I can see it now."
I'll dish on this later. Maybe as the show
goes
on.
Yeah, I don't want to blow it because you'll be watching.
This is not going to be that kind. You don't want, but you know, there's.
I'm being very judicious with my spoilers. I don't want to spoil something that's going to. But if I let you know something that you wouldn't otherwise know, it's probably for the best. It's okay to keep in the back of your mind and file away. But I don't want to ruin anything.
Well, I mean, you've got a cast full of some pretty damn good looking people on both genders. And you know, and they're in a place a lot of them probably haven't been before. You know, it's not like they're just like running back home to LA at the end of the day, you know.
Well, it's funny you say that because the reality is that a lot of the filming locations were reconstructed in LA. So
Well,
they did
yeah, but
actually bring
you
a
know,
lot of the filming, especially after the first season, back to
well,
LA.
after the first season, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Cool.
anyway, yeah.
All right.
I just turned into Gossip Girl there. Oh my god.
That's
Um,
fine.
okay.
That's
Who
very
turned
much
out
on brand for this show,
who
though. So,
turned out to be a guy anyway, from what I understand. So okay.
yeah. Oh, don't even get me started. That pissed me off to no end. You
Yeah.
know, this mystery. There is a certain amount of going back and watching it over again. I can kind of see it. Whereas Gossip Girl, it was completely impossible. There's actually too many things that just don't work. Where you go, no, it's not possible for him to have been Gossip Girl. This is BS.
The writers say so, and you have to accept.
Yeah.
No.
But he wasn't there for most of that stuff.
I know, sweetie. We watched it together. It's so aggravating. Anyway, speaking of food, if you guys are ever in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, you have to eat at America's largest buffet, Shady Maples, and it's not normal buffet food. It tastes like somebody's grandma's cooking. Oh man,
What?
that sounds wonderful, Nate. Oh man, that sounds
They
great.
have pie?
I bet you they probably do. Pennsylvania, you better believe they got pie. But I really should get to Pennsylvania someday. My grandmother grew up in Pennsylvania, and I got family buried there. Never been.
I went to Philadelphia once.
Really?
It was a school trip. It took us 32 hours on the bus to get there from South
Sure.
Carolina to Pennsylvania.
Sure,
It
sure.
took 32 hours. I got motion sickness,
Oh God!
vomited in the lobby of the hotel,
Yikes!
was in bed through most of it. 2 blocks up from our hotel was when Nicky Scarfo killed those 2 guys in the parking garage
Wow!
and started that whole gang war thing that ultimately ended in him getting whacked. But
Yeah.
he didn't get the green light to do that. He just kind of did it on his own, and that was that.
Yeah.
And so we saw all the cops from our hotel room looking down,
Nice.
and then saw some of the sights and saw Betsy Ross's house and went to Old House
Wow!
and saw the Liberty Bell and the Cracked Bell. I'm trying to
Yeah.
stay awake and
Cracked
not puke
Bell.
on the damn Liberty Bell. And it was not a fun, for me anyway, a fun trip.
Yeah.
And I
Nate
was
says
sick
they
the
have a
whole way
whole
back.
table of different pies and cakes. So,
Nice.
What?
if you're ever up that way, the pie is worth the trip.
Yeah.
Oh.
It sounds like I should have gone to Lancaster instead. That's what it
Yeah.
sounds like.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Anyway, so all right. So should we look ahead to the week?
Oh, right. Okay. I'll start.
Yep.
I last night I dropped a review for the movie Next to Goal Wins. So please check that out. It's going to be it's going to open wide November 17th. I got to see an advanced showing. So check that out. Thursday night I'm going to be joining Troy and Netter for Thursday Things.
Yep. Yep. We're looking for an update on the channel for the past year. I think lots been happening for you, my friend.
Indeed. and hopefully we will keep going to infinity and beyond, so to speak.
I'm with you on that.
You know, Friday night, films with friends with Big Al Presents, and hopefully soundtracks with Birdman. Hopefully he'll be able to join us. And we are going to be watching Red Sonja. That's going to be at the 7:30 Eastern, and that's going to be the precursor to Saturday night, Netters Network's Retro Cinema, Conan the Barbarian, the original Arnold Schwarzenegger classic. So
Yes.
check that out. And Sunday, of course, I co-host and co-produce a show called Western Cinema Presents over on Jedi Bill's channel. And this week we are going to be watching the Clint Eastwood film Hang 'em High.
That's a good one.
Good one, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And
that's a great hook at the beginning, yeah.
Yeah. And then hook, yeah.
Well, maybe not hook, maybe noose. Anyway, I'm just gonna say things do not go well for Clint in the beginning of that movie, but yes.
If you hang a man, you better make sure he's dead.
Yeah, basically, yeah, that's the premise, yeah. Yeah, a lot of good westerns, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And of course, later on that night will be Unscripted. I'm kind of up in the air about what I'm going to do, because there's something that has there's a story that has arisen in the last 36 or so hours that I would really very much like to talk about, but other channels that have tried it have been getting yeeted.
Really?
Huh.
So I'm going to have to be real careful how I do it. I'm going to have to indirectly talk about what I want to talk about, because it's one of those deals where if I really want to go 100% full force into it, I would probably have to go on Rumble. But I got a show to do here. It's a popular show, getting a lot of great feedback. People want to see it. It's become appointment television for a few people. So I'm going to have to kind of choose my words carefully, is how I'm going to do. And I'm going to have to go to metaphor route on a number of things. But it's going to be unless something else comes up between now and then, it's going to be a pretty heavy episode. But then, of course, we have Geeky Geezers, which hopefully will be a little bit more fun. And
I mean, we have some Simpsons news to cover, also some Legend of Zelda news. Oddly enough, this kind of came out of the blue, so yeah, we're going to be talking about that.
We got some forward movement on the Legend of Zelda feature film. So
I was amazed to hear that today, and I'm sure, as Troy mentioned before the stream, there's probably going to be some Disney talk. To mention, because their earnings meeting is this week, right? Their earnings call. Yes, there's gonna be some scuttlebutt there. Yeah,
that's tomorrow, isn't it, or Thursday?
I don't know.
Which day? I think it's tomorrow. I don't. Anyway.
The earnings call is tomorrow.
It's tomorrow. Yeah. So, of course, stay tuned to Geeky Geezers, and I'm sure Midnight's Edge.
They'll be all over this. I'm sure.
WDW Pro. I know Valiant will probably be on it like white on rice. So look forward to it. I'm really looking forward to coming home tomorrow and seeing what went down with that. And then, of course, after Geeky Geezers, take a little break, get yourself a beverage, maybe a little snack, and come back to my channel for the other side of midnight. I do not have a specific guest lined up just now. I know who I would like to get, but he doesn't know me from a hole in the ground, and B, again, I would probably get my channel yeeted if I brought this person on. But
Look, I want to get Alex Jones too. It's just he's really hard to get a hold of.
I was honestly thinking Steven Crowder, but
yeah, right.
Yeah, so that ought to give you a bit of a hint of what I'm going to be going into this week.
Oh, sure.
Right.
Yeah, and I don't know how I'm going to do this one, but I'm going to do it. So anyway, the other side of midnight, I don't have anybody lined up specifically yet. So maybe there might be some people on this panel that might be getting a StreamYard link. We'll see.
Okay.
It might just be a hangout episode. So
those are good
to have
too.
a voice first.
Yeah, poor Natter.
Yeah. Are you going to be okay for Thursday, Natter? Are we still
try
on?
to do all the talking like he usually does.
Yeah, I'll probably do a lot of the talking. And yeah, she's going in to for another test on Friday. So keep her in your thoughts and prayers.
Sure.
Indeed. Let's see. I don't want to ignore the chat. Nate says, my dad's favorite Clint Eastwood movie was A Fistful of Dollars. He would watch it every single time it came on TV. Yeah,
it's a good one.
Good movie. And Bill and I have also recently covered that one. So
yeah,
yep.
We did on Birdman's show too, I think. Yeah,
right on. Disney is in such bad shape; they should start calling it a losing call instead of earning.
Right.
Yeah. What's their stock at right now? I think it's in the very low 80s right now.
Let's see. 84.59.
Wow.
It's actually pretty well up. I'm wondering if that is up from where it had been over the past, couple weeks. Actually, boy, looking at it for the past month, since like October 27th, it's come significantly up. It was down to 79.33, and over the past 2 weeks or so, it's come up significantly. I think there is a lot of optimism about Nelson Peltz, and I got to be honest, it sounds to me like Nelson Peltz himself is buying a lot of this stock.
Well, we have Ike Perlmutter is now backing him, and they have this this new CEO from Pepsi that apparently has maybe allied with Peltz as well. So
interesting.
We'll see. We'll see where that goes. And hello to Lester San Jose. I'm here at the tail end, apparently. Yes, please go back and watch the show from the beginning. There is a countdown before the episode comes on. Twin Peaks can be found currently, I believe, on Paramount Plus. So you can find the episode there. It's episode 3.
Yep.
Or the third episode after the pilot, depending on how they have it numbered. And Nate says, 84.59 currently, yeah. Which was slightly better than it was, but still is not great.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Troy and Nutter, anything you have coming up that I'm not connected with that I didn't mention?
just Friday night last call. I'll be doing that annual Star Wars holiday special watch party with Michael from Retro Blasting. I think you're gonna like it. Again, it's a fan edit, so I think a lot of people are going to appreciate that element. And I may have added a little bit to that fan edit myself. So,
Nice.
yeah.
Interesting. All right.
And for those of you who I owe DVDs to, I've got them almost packaged up. I'm hoping to get them to my mailman tomorrow so that you guys can finally get those.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm still really sick, but it's okay,
Yeah,
I'm going to see what I can do to get these out to you guys. And thank you so much for your patience.
No rush. Boomer, anything coming up this week other than Geeky Geezers?
Nope. I'll be on the Friday stream with Troy though, so you can catch me there. So yeah.
Yep.
Nate says if I'm going to be watching the Star Wars, I'm going to need a bottle of whiskey.
Oh yeah, no, I absolutely encourage that. I've started opening my show with the disclaimer: viewer inebriation is recommended. Yeah,
Funny.
Okay, well, that wraps up the show for this week. I want to thank everyone in the chat: Nate, Lester, Lady Mist, Evelyn Hampton. Let me see who else joined us. Cam's Crash Courses, Dee Dee Myers Jr., JPRPH1. Let me scroll up here real quick. Some guy, elderly Zoomer or something like that.
What?
elderly Zoomer. I love it.
I'm going to keep an eye on that guy. He might be trouble. Yes.
Does that mean when they get older, they're going to be creaky geezers?
Possibly.
Maybe it may get there. Yeah.
We also had a Shrek PMC, emotionally unstable amphibian. Please get well soon, sir. It seems he's also down with the what could be the virus that cannot be named. So
okay. I know that. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And okay, I think I got everybody who was in the chat. We had quite a number of people watching at one point, so I'm sure that there may have been some lurkers. That's perfectly fine. You do not have to engage with the chat, just as long as you enjoyed the show. Hit the like, share out the stream, say hello in the comments because it helps with the algorithm. Please subscribe to the fine folks that are here on this panel. And if you're already subscribed, please make sure that you are still subbed because you know how YouTube can be sometimes.
Yeah.
Yep.
She is a and I forgot the terminology. Harsh mistress.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Oh, I'm getting forgetful. I don't know what that's about.
I know the feeling.
Yeah. This is an awesome stream. Thanks, fools. Yes, see you all next time. Folks. You meant to say folks. Okay, that's fine. Fools works too in my there I go again. In my case. All right. That was episode 3 of Twin Peaks. Join us here next week, same bat time, same bat channel, for episode 4, The One-Armed Man. Yeah, we're going to find out what that sneaky Mr. Mike Gerard is up to. So, stay tuned. Thank you, Troy and Netter and Boomer, for being here. I want to thank the chat, everybody listening in the background, anybody who watches the replay. From HQ, good night, take care, stay strong, because this is how we win.